Welcome to Cinema Bites, your go-to for movie recaps in a flash. Big twists, epic moments, all in just minutes. The movie begins with a girl named Clay, who is 7 years old, and Chloe was followed through a small opening in the window, and we see the birds in the sky are still and do not move. And we know that Chloe's mother is dead, and Chloe is alive with her father who called Henry, and he was afraid for her always. Shows him teaching her reading and writing because she didn't go to school, and suddenly blood starts dripping from Henry's eyes. When Chloe sees it, she gets scared, but he reassures her and says, "This is normal, don't be afraid." That night, we see Chloe drawing her face on a pillow and writing "Mom" on it. She hugs the pillow and falls asleep. In the morning, she notices someone slipping a small note through the door slot. She takes the book and reads it. The note tells the story of a princess locked in a house and an ice cream cellar. When she looks out the window, she sees the ice cream truck parked near their neighbor's house. Chloe closes her eyes and whispers softly, "Buy it for me." She asks her neighbor, Harper, to buy her ice cream. Harper agrees and buys it for her. Harper goes to Chloe's house to give her the ice cream she bought. Chloe gets excited and opens the door to take it, but Henry intervenes, stops her, and locks her in the storage room as punishment for opening the door and not listening to him. The next day, Henry apologizes to his daughter and warns her not to open the door for strangers. He tells her he will go to the market for groceries and will bring her the ice cream she wanted. Chloe gets happy, hugs him, and Henry leaves. When he returns, he is injured and covered in blood. Despite this, Chloe looks for the ice cream she asked for but doesn't find it. Suddenly, Henry faints. Chloe takes advantage of the situation, steals his money, and goes to the ice cream seller, whose name is Alan. She buys ice cream from him, and then they go on a city trip together. She walks around, enjoying the beautiful sights she had been missing. At that moment, she notices a large billboard with a picture of a man bleeding from his eyes, with a warning to report to the police if such a person is seen. Chloe tells Alan that her father used to bleed from his eyes. Alan asks her if she has ever bled from her eyes, and she says no. They stop at a park with a playground. Alan pushes Chloe on the swings, but she gets scared because of the speed. Suddenly, the police approach them. Alan tells Chloe, "I'm your grandfather," but Chloe tells the police that he's not her grandfather but a traveling ice cream seller. The police use a blue light to examine Alan's eyes, which reveals traces of blood. Alan tells Chloe that the police officer is evil, responsible for killing her mother, and wants to kill her too. Chloe begs the police to leave her alone. She manages to influence his thoughts and forces him to leave. Alan and Chloe return to his car. Chloe sees a picture of a woman and asks Alan about her. He tells her it's her mother, Mary, and that he is her grandfather. Chloe asks for the picture, and Alan agrees. Suddenly, he gives her a sedative and tells her, "If you hear the ice cream truck, put the sedative in your father's drink and come to me." Meanwhile, Henry wakes up from his coma and is shocked to find Chloe missing. He starts searching for her and eventually finds her drawing. He apologizes for breaking his promise and not bringing her the ice cream she wanted. Chloe gets upset and accuses him of lying about the dangers outside. She tells him there are no bad people trying to kill her and storms out of the room. At night, Chloe clutches her mother's picture and falls asleep. Suddenly, she hears a noise from the storage room. She goes there and finds Mary tied up and locked inside. Chloe introduces herself, revealing that Mary has been imprisoned there for a long time and doesn't remember her daughter. Mary doesn't believe Chloe and screams at her. Chloe gets scared and quickly leaves. She notices her father sleeping with headphones on. Chloe takes the headphones and listens to news about people whose eyes bleed, stating that these individuals have superpowers and are targeted by the police. Chloe realizes that the police kill anyone whose eyes bleed. The next day, while playing, Chloe finds herself in her neighbor Harper's room. Harper and her friends bully Chloe for not having a mother. Chloe gets upset and tells them she does have a mother. She decides to show them by opening the storage room to reveal Mary. However, when she looks, she doesn't see Harper or her friends, only Mary. Chloe sits beside Mary, comforting and calming her. Mary hugs Chloe, showing her motherly affection. Suddenly, Mary disappears. Chloe goes to her father and tells him she wants to live a normal life like everyone else and move in with their neighbor Nancy and her daughter Harper. She hopes her father will agree. Henry refuses because he's worried about her safety. He tells her that one day he might be killed, and she will regret her words. Chloe prepares a drink with the sedative and gives it to Henry. Henry notices traces of the sedative on the cup and realizes what Chloe has done. When Chloe realizes she's been caught, she runs, and Henry chases her. Henry finds the sedative bag and gets angry, but Chloe uses her powers to influence his mind and make him fall asleep. She quickly takes the money and leaves to meet her grandfather. He asks her what she plans to do with all the money. She replies that she will buy a new mother. Alan tells her that if she helps him, he will bring her real mother back. Suddenly, Chloe's eyes start bleeding. Alan wipes the blood from her eyes and takes her to meet Agent Ray. Alan explains to Ray that Chloe has superpowers. Agent Ray uses the blue light to examine their eyes. She finds traces of blood in Chloe's eyes but none in Alan's. Chloe gets upset, insisting she's normal, and runs away. Alan follows her. Ray calls for police backup, but Alan and Chloe disappear. It's revealed that Alan has superpowers, allowing him to vanish. In the car, Alan tells Chloe he will train her to use her powers, but she refuses, wanting to go home. She uses her powers to influence his mind and make him take her home. Suddenly, her father appears, takes Alan, and disappears. Henry ties Alan to a chair at home and tries to take Chloe away. However, Chloe uses her powers to influence him and make him leave her alone. Henry sees a car speeding toward Chloe and runs faster than lightning to save her. He creates a time bubble around them, slowing time. Henry explains to Chloe that he has been creating these time bubbles around them, which is why they haven't aged like the outside world. He tells her that her mother has been dead for a long time, even though it feels like only a month to them. Chloe realizes why the birds in the sky seemed frozen and not flying. Henry tells her she needs to live a normal life. The couple asks their neighbor Nancy to let Chloe live with them, and indeed, the family welcomes her. However, their daughter Harper is very upset about Chloe, telling her it's impossible for her to live with them in the house because Chloe keeps coming into her room at night. One time, Chloe ruined a party Harper was having with her friends. Nancy then apologizes to Henry, saying she can't take Chloe in, but Chloe can influence Nancy's mind. At the same moment, Nancy feels something and tells Chloe, "I love you." But moments later, Nancy loses control and sees Chloe's bleeding eye. Nancy threatens to call the police, and when they hear this, they quickly leave the house and return home. They lock Chloe in the storage room. Mary comes to reassure Chloe, telling her, "I'm always with you, but I won't let you out." Chloe learns from her mother that she is alive but imprisoned on a distant mountain. Suddenly, a large guard enters, grabs Mary and drags her away. Mary cries out for help from her daughter Chloe. Chloe quickly escapes from the storage room and tries to explain to her father that she wants to help her mother Mary, but Henry doesn't listen, telling her, "I'm doing this to protect you." Chloe responds, "I want to kill you." Her words affect him, and Chloe controls his mind, making him attempt suicide. But at the last moment, Chloe stops controlling him and prevents him from killing himself. She then loses consciousness. When Chloe wakes up from her coma, she asks about her mother, saying she needs help. Alan is surprised and doesn't believe her, but he says, "I was with Mary on Mount Maddock, and I escaped, but Mary couldn't." Chloe looks out the window and sees Nancy talking to a police officer. Using her supernatural abilities, Chloe makes her father and grandfather hear Nancy and the officer's conversation. Nancy tells the officer that Chloe has supernatural powers and that she intimidates the girl. The officer says, "If what you're saying is true, I'll reward you." Nancy asks if they will take Chloe to Mount Maddock, and the officer replies that the mountain isn't for children with supernatural powers. Chloe hears the conversation and becomes very angry with Nancy. She controls the officer's mind, making him hit Nancy in the eye. Suddenly, Chloe decides to force the officer to kill himself, but Henry stops her at the last moment. At that moment, the police arrive and see Nancy bleeding. They shoot and kill her. Henry is upset because his daughter Chloe caused someone's death. Chloe holds a picture of her mother and, using her imagination, manages to locate her tied up in the mountains. When Henry arrives, he is shocked to see Mary alive. He tries to shoot the doctor but can't because everything was an illusion and not real. At this moment, Alan arrives, and the doctor prepares to inject Mary, but Alan asks Chloe to help Mary quickly. Chloe manages to control the doctor's mind, making him attempt suicide, making him inject himself and die. She also controls the guard, forcing him to unlock Mary's restraints. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. Henry slows down time and sees Agent Ray. Clyde tells him to open the door and act normal while he helps Mary. Alan gives Henry a substance to hide the blood in his eyes. Henry applies it and opens the door. Ray enters and examines his eyes, finding no traces of blood. However, she says, "I know everything about you, and I can smell the substance you used to hide the blood." Meanwhile, we see Chloe helping her mother escape the mountain. Agent Ray tries to convince Henry to hand over Chloe so they can train her and use her powers for charitable purposes to benefit the country. Alan is present but hiding. He quickly takes Ray's weapon, but she notices and demands he reveal himself. When he does, she takes the gun and shoots Henry in the stomach. Alan disappears quickly. Ray goes upstairs and sees Chloe, freeing her mother. Ray shoots at Chloe, but her grandfather, who is invisible, takes the bullet and dies. Chloe grieves for her grandfather and uses her powers to control Ray, making her shoot herself. Alan tells Chloe to go quickly and help her mother. Shortly after, Alan dies. At this point, the police surround the house. Henry decides to use his powers to create a large bubble around the house, freezing the police in place. He eventually has to remove the bubble so Chloe can continue helping Mary. Because of this, Chloe becomes exhausted and collapses. Mary calls out to her, and upon hearing her, Chloe gets up to help. She also makes the guard open the door. Mary quickly escapes and flies away using her supernatural powers. The police decide to launch a missile at the house, but Henry slows down time with difficulty, grabs Chloe, and escapes the house. However, he is affected by the effort. In his final moments, Henry saves his daughter and tells her, "I love you and am proud of you." Henry then dies. Chloe cries over her father's death and becomes frightened when she sees the police searching for her. Suddenly, Mary arrives. Chloe runs to her and hugs her. Chloe is happy to have her mother back, feeling reassured that she won't be alone after her father's death. Mary promises to protect Chloe and take her to a safe place. However, Chloe refuses, saying there's no need to run from the world. Chloe dreams of living a normal life. Mary is moved by this and hugs her. Together, they fly away, deciding to move to a safer place where they can live a normal life. This marks the end of the movie. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get more new videos.